Right now, on the small wooden balcony behind my home in Okinawa, a single dark panel is leaning against the railing, facing the morning sun. It is no larger than a kitchen tabletop. A thin cable runs from it through my window to a quiet box on my floor, no bigger than a loaf of bread. That box is full. It has been filling, silently, since the sun came up over the sea this morning. And tonight, when the lamp beside my chair comes on, when the small refrigerator hums in the corner, when the fan turns slowly in the warm evening air, none of it will come from the power company. It will come from that panel and from this morning's sun, which cost me nothing at all. The whole arrangement cost me less than $300. It took me about an hour to set up. One quiet afternoon, with a cup of tea cooling beside me. There was no contractor, no hole cut in my roof, no permit to apply for, no man in a truck, no paper to sign, and it has been quietly lowering my electric bill month after month, season after season, for years now. My name is Kenji Takara. I am 81 years old, and I have lived my whole life on the island of Okinawa in the south of Japan. I grew up in a time and a place where electricity was a precious thing, where my grandmother counted every lamp that burned in the house and turned off every one she passed in the hallway. We did not waste. We could not afford to waste. And that lesson, the lesson we call matnai, that to waste a thing is a quiet shame, that nothing should be used carelessly, that every object and every coin holds value worth honoring, has stayed in my hands my entire life. It is the thread that runs through everything I will ever teach you. And today, I want to place it gently in your hands. Now, before I show you exactly what I bought and exactly how I set it up, I must tell you the part that should make you a little angry, because most people in your country have been carefully taught that solar power is an enormous, frightening, expensive thing. A $30,000 project, panels bolted across the whole face of your roof, a loan that follows you for 20 long years, like a shadow, a salesman sitting at your kitchen table with a folder and a pen and a practiced smile, speaking to you about financing options and system sizing until your head swims and you simply want him to leave. And there is a reason, a deliberate reason, that you have been taught it this way. The large solar companies do not truly make their money from the sun. The sun is free. They cannot sell it. They make their money from the installation, from the loan, from the contract, from the 20 years of monthly payments that come after. A small panel that you set up yourself in an hour for the price of a single week of groceries is worth nothing to them. There is nothing on it for them to sell, so they do not tell you it exists. They allow you to believe that solar is all or nothing, that either you spend $30,000 or you spend nothing and keep paying the power company faithfully, obediently, forever, until the day you die. That is the lie, and it is a very costly lie, because it has kept money flowing out of the pockets of good, careful people for decades. Between nothing and $30,000, there lies a small, humble, deeply sensible middle path, a path my grandmother would have chosen without a single moment's hesitation, because it is the path of common sense, and common sense was the only wealth she ever truly had. Quick word before I begin, and I won't bring it up again. Everything I share here, There's far more of it than fits in one video, so I gathered it all into one book, the Takara Method, and right now I'm keeping it at a special price, lower than it'll normally be. The link's in the description, or point your phone at the code on screen. That's all. Now let me show you today's. But here is where almost everyone goes wrong. And if you do not understand this one thing, you will waste your money, you will be disappointed, and you will tell your friends that it does not work. So please, listen to me carefully now, the way you would listen to an old man who has nothing to sell you and only wants you to succeed. People hear the word solar, and at once they imagine powering the whole house. The air conditioner roaring on a summer afternoon, the electric stove glowing red, the water heater, the clothes dryer tumbling for an hour. And then they look at a small $300 panel and they laugh out loud, because of course, it cannot do those things. A small panel cannot run a whole house. That much is perfectly true. But that is not the mistake. The mistake is not the panel. The mistake is trying to make it do that in the first place. The true secret, the secret my grandmother understood in her bones, though she never once heard the word solar, is that you do not try to power everything. You power the small, constant, hungry things, the handful of devices that run all day and all night without rest, quietly eating your money while you sleep in your bed. Your refrigerator, your modem and your router, glowing in the dark, a fan, the lamp you read by in the evening, the telephone and the small things you charge. None of these need very much power at all, but they run constantly, hour after hour, day after day, and over a full month, that small constant draw becomes a surprisingly large share of the bill you dread opening. If you move just those few faithful, hungry little things onto the sun, you stop paying for them entirely. Not all of your electricity. I will not lie to you and promise that. Just the steady, faithful, endlessly expensive trickle of it. That is the whole idea. You are not replacing the power company. You are quietly, patiently taking back the one part of the bill you never truly needed to pay in the first place. So, what do you actually buy? There are only two pieces, just two, and I am going to tell you exactly what each one is, exactly what it costs, and the single small detail on each that almost everyone gets wrong, the detail that decides whether your $300 serves you for 2 years or for 20. The first piece is the power station. Some sellers call it a portable battery. Some call it a solar generator. Do not let that word generator frighten or confuse you. There is no fuel, no engine, no fumes, no noise. It does not roar or rattle. It is simply a quiet box that holds electricity, the way a water jar holds water, keeping it ready until the moment you need it. A good one, about the size of a small loaf of bread, costs somewhere between $150 and $200 when it is on sale. And these things go on sale very often if you are patient enough to wait for the price to fall. You do not need the largest one in the store. The salesman will always wish to sell you the largest. For the small, constant things I described to you, a station that holds somewhere near 300 watt-hours is plenty to begin with. But here is the one detail that matters far more than the size. The detail the cheapest bargain boxes get wrong, and the reason so many people are disappointed within a year or two. Look on the box for these words, Li FP04. lithium iron phosphate. I will not trouble you with the chemistry of it, for I am an old man and not a scientist. What you need to understand is only this. An ordinary cheap battery, the kind in the very lowest price boxes, may last only 2 or 3 years before it grows tired, before it holds less and less, until one day it holds almost nothing at all, and you must buy another. But a Li-FePO4 battery is built to be filled and emptied thousands of times over, often 3,000 full cycles, sometimes far more. If you fill it from the sun and empty it once each day, that is the better part of 10 years, and often much longer. That is the lasts forever I spoke of in the beginning. Not magic, not a trick. It's simply a battery chosen well. My grandmother chose her cooking pots the very same way. She had one heavy iron pot that her own mother had given her, and she used it every single day of her life. And when she died, it passed to my mother, and it cooks our rice to this very day. The cheap pot, she used to say, is bought twice. The good pot is bought once and blesses 3 generations. That is the deepest meaning of Matanai, not merely do not waste, but choose well one time so that you never have to waste money replacing a thing you should have chosen properly at the start. Spend a little more, this once, on the good battery, and then never spend it again. The second piece is the panel itself, the part that drinks the sunlight. A portable solar panel, the kind that folds up like a book when you are finished, somewhere between 100 and 120 watts of power, costs roughly $80 to $120. Put them together, the station and the panel, and you stand at around $300 in total, often a little less if you are patient and wait for the right sale, as I have told you. And patience, as my grandmother would gently remind me, is itself a quiet form of saving. The one who must have a thing today pays the full price. The one who can wait pays far less. Now, the setup. This is the single hour I promised you, and I tell you truthfully, it is simpler than brewing a pot of tea. First, place the panel where the sun falls strongest upon it. For most of you across America, this means facing it toward the south. Tilted up toward the open sky, so the sunlight strikes it directly rather than sliding off at an angle. A balcony railing will do, a patio, a sunny patch of yard in the grass, even propped up inside a bright window if you have nothing else. Though I must tell you honestly, glass steals away a little of the sun's strength. So out of doors is always better when you can manage it. There is no drilling, no mounting brackets, no climbing on the roof. And please, at our age, we have no business climbing on roofs. You simply lean it where the light falls, the way you might set a plant where it can drink the morning sun. Second, run the cable from the panel to the power station. It plugs in one way and one way only. The makers have shaped it so that you cannot possibly do it wrong, even if you tried. Set the station itself in the shade, indoors if you prefer, out of the heat of the day, for heat is not kind to batteries over the long years. And now, this is the quiet miracle of it. The sun is filling your box. Silently, steadily, asking nothing. Free all the day long, while you go about your life and forget it is even working. Third, and this is the part where people overlook the very simplest thing of all. You do not rewire your house. You do not open a single wall. You do not call an electrician or pull a permit or touch anything dangerous. You simply take the few devices you have chosen, your modem, your fan, your reading lamp, and you plug them directly into the power station instead of into the wall. That is the whole of it. Those few devices now live upon the sun. Everything else in your home remains on the power company's wire, exactly as it always was. Nothing permanent has been done, nothing dangerous, and if you should ever move from that home, you simply unplug the whole arrangement and carry it away in one hand, like a suitcase. Your light goes where you go. Now let me give you the parts that most people miss entirely, the small wisdoms that quietly double the value of this humble little system. The first wisdom: run your refrigerator upon it, if your station is large enough. But do it the clever way, the way few people understand. A refrigerator does not draw power steadily, as a lamp does. It draws hard for a few minutes, as it cools itself. Then it rests, quiet, for a long while. Then it wakes and draws hard again. So when you choose your station, look on the box for a second number, the surge number, the brief, hard pull it can withstand for a moment. If that surge number is high enough to handle the refrigerator's waking, then your refrigerator can run from the stored sun straight through the daylight hours. And understand this clearly. The refrigerator is very often the single most expensive thing to run in the entire house, because it never truly stops, day or night, all year round. This one move alone, placing only your refrigerator upon the sun, can change the whole shape of your monthly bill. The second wisdom: think carefully about when you charge things. This is the old Japanese habit we call kakebo, the patient household accounting that my own mother kept in a small worn notebook every single day of her life, every coin that came in and every coin that went out written down in her careful hand, so that no yen ever slipped away unnoticed. Bring that same thinking to your electricity. Charge everything that can possibly be charged. Your telephone, your hand tools, your small lamps, even a second small battery if you have one, during the bright hours of the day, while the sun is giving its power freely and asking nothing. Then, in the evening, when the power company charges you the very most for every unit you draw from their wire, you live instead upon the sunlight you stored away for free that morning. You see, you are not merely making power, you are shifting your use into the hours that cost you nothing, and away from the hours that cost you most. That is kakebo and mottainai working together, hand in hand, the way they always have. The third wisdom, and the one that nearly everyone forgets entirely: keep the panel clean. A thin, invisible film of dust, of pollen, of the salt that drifts in upon the sea air, and here beside the ocean we gather a great deal of salt upon everything, can quietly steal away a good portion of the sun's daily gift, and you will never even notice it happening. Once a week, take a soft cloth and plain water and wipe the face of the panel clean. 1 minute of your time, no more. My grandmother wiped the glass chimney of every oil lamp in our house this same way, every single week of her long life, without fail. Because a dirty lamp, she taught me, burns the very same oil for only half the light, and a dirty panel drinks the very same sun for only half the power. The principle is more than 100 years old. The lamps are gone now, but the principle has not changed at all. Let me tell you a little more about that grandmother, because in truth, she is standing behind every single word I am speaking to you today. We lived simply, the two of us and my parents, in a low wooden house near the shore. And when the great typhoons came, as they always did in their season, and tore down the power lines across the island, the modern houses all around us went suddenly dark and cold and helpless, their families sitting in the gloom, waiting 2 days, 3 days, sometimes more, for the company's men to come and restore the wire. But my grandmother's house glowed softly through every storm. She had her lamps, she had her stored water, she had her small, careful, patient preparations, made long before they were ever needed. And so the neighbors came to her door through the wind and the rain, not because she was wealthy, for she never was, not for a single day of her life, but because she had never once trusted her family's warmth and light entirely to someone else's wire, strung up on someone else's pole, maintained by someone else's company. She believed, deep in her heart, that a person should always hold a little of their own light in their own 2 hands against the dark days that surely come. And that, in the end, is what this small and humble solar system truly is. It is not about the money alone, though the money is real and it matters. It is about holding a little of your own light, about never again being made entirely helpless when the wire goes down or the price goes up. Now let me show you plainly what that light is worth, in honest numbers, for I will never deceive you. A small system such as this, running your refrigerator through the daylight hours, and then your lamps, your fan, and your small devices through the evening, can take somewhere between $15 and $40 off your monthly bill, depending upon the strength of the sun where you live, and how carefully and wisely you use it. Let us be modest and say $25 each month. That is $300 across a full year. Your entire setup, then, pays for itself completely within that very first year. And after that, it simply keeps on giving, quietly, year after year after year, for the long and faithful life of that good battery you chose so well. Free light, drawn down from a sky that asks nothing whatsoever in return. Now think, please, on the larger picture, for this is the part that matters most to my old heart. Many of you who are listening to me now live upon a fixed income. The check arrives once each month, and it does not grow. But the bills grow every year without fail. Each year the power company asks for a little more, and each year you give it to them, because what choice do you believe you have? You have been made to feel, slowly and deliberately, that you have no choice at all. But you do. Here, in this small thing, is one honest piece of your bill that you can take back into your own 2 hands and never, ever hand over again. It is not the whole answer to everything. I would never insult you by claiming so. But it is your answer. No company can raise the price of it. No company can ever shut it off. And there is a deep and quiet dignity in that. The dignity of needing them just a little less. The dignity of holding a little of your own light through the bright days and the dark ones alike. This is matanai. It is not poverty. It is not going without, or pinching, or suffering. It is simply the gentle, ancient refusal to waste. The refusal to pour your hard-earned money, month after month after month, into something the sun above your head was always willing to give you for free, if only someone had told you how to receive it. So tell me now, in the comments below, where do you live and how strong is your sun? Tell me your state, your country, the direction your roof happens to face. I read every message that you write to me, every one, and I would dearly like to know who among you decides to set out a panel this very week and take back a little of your own light from the wire. And next time I will show you the thing my grandmother did to keep our home cool through the very hottest months of the year, without a single electric fan ever running in the heat of the day. An old island method, using only water and shade, and the secret way the cool evening air moves through a house if you know how to invite it in. It cost her nothing at all, and it kept 3 generations of our family comfortable through summers far hotter and heavier than the ones you now dread. Until then, waste nothing, hold tight to your own light, and remember always that the people who lived closest to the earth understood things that we, in all our cleverness, are only now beginning to remember.